Hello, welcome back to the Mr. Arsenal podcast. Nearly 24 hours on from the debacle in France. We are back. We're going to break down what happened last night and do a bit of a preview as well. Looking forward on to Sunday as well. But as you can see, I am joined by Liam and Melvin. How are you doing, guys?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Ryan. Hi, Liam.
Yeah, good man. Yeah, evening, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good.
Still recovering. Can't believe I almost fell asleep last night. I was getting that stressed over it. Jesus Christ! Only Arsenal could piss me off this much, but hey, it is what it is. Let's just get into it. I mean, we'll start with Melvin. I mean, there's a beat around the bush. What happened? What went wrong last night? Because we started off first few minutes. You see those nerves, but we settled down, got the goal. We were controlling the tempo, and then everyone knows my thoughts on what happened. It went 1-1, and from the second it went 1-1, we just fell apart. But mentally, everyone just sort of switched off and never recovered from that. And then we've lost Bukayo. It just I don't get it. What is it with us in France? We don't have. I've noticed this not since last night. We've always had a bad rep going to France. Obviously, the Champions League final in France, we lost that. We don't. What was it? Auxerre beat us as well. And then obviously last night we've lost. I mean, PSG, was it a 1 or 2 draw there? Could have lost that night. We just don't have a good record in France, do we?
No, but I wouldn't. I'd take that bad record every day of the week because we had Wenger, so that would more than make up for it. So I don't mind France being in England. Being in the world football. I'd take that every day of the week. No, we started off, and it's quite funny when you listen to the commentary. The commentators can change like that. All of a sudden, we've got this under control. Take your cigars out. This is fantastic. The minute they get their goal, it's like, oh my God, Arsenal not playing well. It's like that they, who's going to be the man in the match, the guy that scores the winning goal. It's a bit like that with the commentators. What happened was that goal was very, very, very important. I think we might have had another chance if it was 1-0. But we never, going forward, really had that many chances. Defensively, I didn't think they're that good because their goalkeeper had a hell of a lot to do, in my opinion, really. He was a bit lucky on a couple, but he made some also good saves. But it just showed up last night that when our backs are against the wall, for whatever reason, some players go back to their true level because some of the players have been playing above their level. Or we think they're okay because I think our hearts are actually taken over from our minds and our eyes. What we see, we want every Arsenal player to do well, and we're looking for positives all the time. I know I am, but last night there was a few players, and you went, "Nah, I'm wrong. They ain't going to do it. It's not right. They're not good enough for their positions or whatever." And it just shone like a big light last night for me. All of a sudden, the old question mark in my head went, oh no. And also, just very quickly, I know we don't like to have a go at the manager, but before they scored their second goal, I wanted him to make changes. Yeah. Because you could tell they were getting more and more confident. Even the commentators noticed it. They weren't using cliches, they're actually being quite sensible that we're saying. They were saying they're just dropping back because they're not dropping back anymore, because they know they've got nothing to worry about. And I thought, well, you've got to bring people on now. Did we have a sub on before the second half? I don't think we did. Apart from Saka, sorry. Saka was the only one.
Apart from Saka, because that was full.
That was full. Yeah. Apart from that, we could have made another, 4 or 5, or I don't know how many it is, substitutes.
4 more subs. 4
more subs. You've got 30 minutes to go, 25 minutes to go. That's probably the right time when they're physically, done their bit, some of the players. Make a change. They look so dangerous, even before they scored, coming down our right-hand side. If you don't play with the left back, you've got problems. If you're also playing without a left back and your left defending midfielder can't run back, you've got double problems. And if you've got a fast winger or fast wide guy like they had who could play a bit, you've got 3 problems. And it just went on from there. You could see it happening. And I said to a pal of mine, I phoned him up, I go, but one thing to tell you, the manager will not do anything. Actually said he won't take off Havertz. I thought he was having a stinker. And some others were as well. I'm not saying that, but I thought that was looking poor. So they ain't going to take him off until we let in a goal. And 3 minutes later, it bloody happens. So we've been there before, haven't we?
Just touching on that. I was doing, as everyone knows, I was doing my watch along last night, and about teams come out in the second half, and I'm thinking, okay. And I noticed certain players came out, and their levels had dropped even more. Like Trossard, everything in the second half just weren't going for him. Every time he took the ball, he'd either pass it wrong, would over touch it, go out, or go back to the opposition and cause more pressure. And from for 20 minutes, from the 50th minute till the sub was made, I'm sitting there saying he needs to come off. Havertz needs to come off. What we need to come on is Smith Rowe and Reece Nelson. We need them on ASAP because we lose. Certain players aren't with it. They're dropping as the game goes on. It's getting worse and worse and worse. And the longer this goes on, the worse it could potentially happen. And literally 30 seconds before their goal, I see Ben White just in the corner of the screen, bottom of the screen, where getting ready to come on, and something. Okay, making some subs, a bit late, but whatever. The goal happens, and then suddenly he just throws all three on, and I'm just like, oh, fantastic. And then you're literally put at that point. There was no sort of reaction apart from. I mean, Smith Rowe came on again. What he comes on, he had a couple of shots himself. He did all right. I'm not going to go at him or the subs in general, but you're then asking for three new players to come on first legs when the other players are now demoralised. And another thing I wanted to pick up on before I go to Liam was, I pointed this out last night, was in one of them subs, he takes off Odegaard, the captain. And I'm sat there and I'm saying, what sort of message does that send? Not just us as a fan base, him as a player, but all our rivals, all the opposition teams from now on. That when the going gets tough, you don't believe in your captain to get us through, even no matter what, to turn something on, get us through these sticky moments. That you'd rather hook him off and just forego whatever happens and take that risk. I'm just, and then people know my thoughts on the Reyes situation. I mean, but we'll go to Liam first. Before I go back into full rant again over David Ray and that whole situation as well. I'm going to pass over to Liam and get his thoughts on the last night as well. That said it all.
That's how I feel. That is literally how I feel. I'll be honest, and maybe we're all in the wrong as well, that we thought that we'd just go over there and turn them over. Do you know what I mean? Like the performance stunk from the get go. That we thought we could just go there and win. And I think we underestimated them. We underestimated that they haven't been in the Champions League for 21 years. And you know, when you're sitting there and you're listening before the game, you're like, they haven't been in the Champions League for 21 years. You think this has got Arsenal all over it. This has got an Arsenal defeat all over it. That they haven't been in the Champions League for 21 years. Honestly, that the atmosphere was incredible. Like, we've dominated our away fans everywhere in England over the last 2 years. Like, we couldn't even hear us last night. That's how good they were. And I think, obviously, it would have given them a massive, massive lift, just like it did with us against PSV at home. So I do think there's a big factor around that. But we scored the goal, and at the time that we scored the goal, we was having most of the possession. We was all playing it around their box, but there was no substance to it, was there? There was nothing. But you didn't feel at any point that we was under pressure. You didn't feel like we was going to concede a goal. And I've said this time and time again. If you look at every single goal we've conceded this year, it's our own doing. It's either a mistake from the goalkeeper, it's a mistake from the back. It's just typical us, and we're just very naive and don't seem to learn. And once Saka went off, I didn't see us scoring, if I'm being totally honest. Like, I think we underestimate what Saka and Martinelli actually give this team in terms of pace. There was no pace. Like, I don't want to see Vieira play out wide again, and that's not against Vieira. That he's just not a right winger, do you know what I mean? That is not his position.
Reece Nelson would have given that pace.
He obviously doesn't trust Reece Nelson. He obviously doesn't trust Reece Nelson for more than a 25-minute spell. I think he sees Reece Nelson as a guy who can come on and cause a bit of havoc. But that's all he sees him as, don't he? He don't trust him. If he trusted him, he'd have brought him on last night, but he didn't. And this has been a problem for 2 years now, this Saka situation. We're overplaying him. He should never played last night. Let's be honest. Saka should have never played that game last night. But because Arteta hasn't got no one else that he trusts, he just plays him time and time and time again. And we're gonna get our pants pulled down soon with Saka. Like, he's gonna get a long injury. I can see it. And when it happens, there's no one ready to play in that position.
No, I mean, there's reports going around that it's a hamstring. It's not that bad. They're going to reassess it before the game over the next few days, and this, that, and the other fitness tests. It just seems like you say. I said on Monday with James, that I would have even took Saka to France. I would have let him, because of the way he went off against Bournemouth. I would have left him at home, let him do training and all that crap, and Coney or whatever, and just make sure he's ready for Sunday. Mine, especially with Man City as weak as they are in the league games, they're going to be. But when I saw it, I was like, okay, cool, whatever. And then obviously, I know he got the assist, but then seeing him go down again, it's just and Arteta sort of in the press conference, Arteta's passing it off. Oh, he did a little back heel. He felt a little bit of a pull, and we took him off. But it's just like the first time. It's just like the third or fourth time in as many games. He's going down now at certain points of the game and having to be hooked off for one way or the other. Tottenham near the end. Bournemouth. I mean, the game before Tottenham as well. He's going down a lot. It's getting very concerning. He's just running to get into the ground. And like you say, I think the worst things that happen, and then when that happens, is all on Arteta. Because it's not like he hasn't got the depth.
I only go to the home games, Ryan. And when you're watching it at the ground, you notice when the ball's on the other side, him limping. I've seen it on so many home games, limping. All of a sudden, the play changes. It comes back to our side, and he finds another bit of energy or something else to play through it. That's not good. That is not good. We don't want him to play through anything. We want him to be fit. And I think he's lost a bit of speed. I think he very rarely takes someone on the outside anymore. It's always inside. You know, you say that we're missing the speed of Martinelli and Saka. Saka hasn't shown his speed, in my opinion, all season. He will do again, hopefully, but he hasn't showed it this season. I'm not knocking him at all. I'm just playing facts that he sees it better for him the way he plays to come inside, because he hasn't got the confidence, or he knows he hasn't got the speed at the moment to really go into third gear and get away from someone, which is a shame. You're saying no one else can play on the right, and Arteta hasn't got the confidence in anyone else. Well, do we play with 10 men next week if Saka can't play? He's got to have the confidence in some player. So that's ridiculous. He's got to give someone a chance anyway, because these things happen. So it just all of a sudden you lose a bit of confidence, and everything Arteta does now is going to be scrutinised even more. Last season it didn't matter. We were doing so well. If he did make mistakes, it didn't matter. And if we saw the mistakes, we either won the game anyway, or Arteta had so much fat in his body and goodwill from the Arsenal support, we went, don't worry, no problem. When we're playing like we're playing now, and we only PSV was the one we really, I thought, played out of our skin. I mean, Bournemouth, they looked poor. Though we played all right, they looked poor, and they had a couple of chances, but we were comfortable. But we haven't hit the heights of last season. We're nowhere near it, and we supposedly we have got better players. I mean, Rice is a different class. He's the only one who should have got paid last night for that performance, but. Really, we haven't done it, and so I think more of his decisions now will come under much more scrutiny than they've been recently.
I mean, yeah, you got as I was calling. I think everyone's got sick of my voice last night because I was constantly like over in one situation in particular, I'm just calling Arteta out, and I'm just like, he's bang out of order. They just like, it's like one. How many games we played this season? One game we could say hand on heart from start to finish, we were a better team. We played fluid, attacking football. We looked our normal selves. Every game aside from that PSV game, we looked lethargic, slow, passive, and we don't have that killer instinct in us in the attack. And like it's been mentioned, defensively, the goals were given away in all comps. Of our own doing, it's like we just give the ball away and it's like boom, goal. I mean, last night, I'm all for modern day playing out from the back and all that, but the reaction from David Raya and the team, but more so because he's the one that gives it away. He's general body reaction, not getting back in position properly, just bouncing in his box all over the place, hoping for the best, and then diving because his angle's against him. That changed for me. That the momentum swung. The fans just went up a notch, and the players fed off that, and we just. But I put a tweet out last night, and I said, because I went after the game, I gave it about an hour or so, went online, and I'm seeing no one really. There's probably a few, but not to the levels. If that was Aaron Ramsdale making that mistake last night that David Raya did to lead to the 1-1, I know every man, woman, and child would have been online, absolutely tearing him to thunder. But because it's David Raya, a shiny new toy, everyone's like, well, not everyone. There's parts of that family going, well, look at these stats. I mean, again, stats. These people come up with stats. It's like, I don't care about stats. I want a goalkeeper that keeps the ball out of the net and can do what has been asked of him. I don't know about you guys, but I'm seeing nothing different when David Raya has been playing these last 5 out of 6 games than what I would see if Ramsdale in goal. In terms of his distribution, everyone's going, but David Raya's got fantastic distribution. That's the reason why he's so great. North London derby, the first proper test. As soon as he made in my opinion, the cock up with the goal that led to 1-1 in terms of literally not pushing it out for a goal kick, but putting it back into the danger zone, and then having that.
Oh, what goal was that? Sorry, the first goal.
The Tottenham's equaliser, where the ball came in, he sort of was about to dip in. Instead of pushing it out for a corner, he pushes it back into the danger zone and causes anarchy between Ben White, Declan, and the entire defence. Because it goes out to Madison, then comes back in, crosses it, Son taps it in.
First goal. That was the first goal, wasn't it?
Yeah, the first goal, yeah.
I disagree with you on that. He may have made that mistake, but I blame for that first goal 100% Ben White. You got past Saka. I know you're saying that. Without him doing that, the other wouldn't have followed. I agree.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
Once that happened,
sorry.
Once that happened, and then Saka didn't tackle the guy. Maddison got past him. Maddison overkicks the ball, and White is a defender, right? A defender didn't have the foresight or read the room and go, you know what? I've got to get away from here because I've got people around me. We're all right. He just stays like a statue. And even though Maddison kicks it too far, he's in a no-win situation. And it gives Maddison a chance to cross it and Son to put it in. So, yeah, there wasn't just one person. You can blame 3. I didn't actually think when I don't like seeing us letting goals. So I don't watch the replays too many times. This is just from memory. I think I've seen it once on the box. That I thought someone made a mistake on the day. I was sitting there going, who was that? Couldn't work it out, couldn't see properly. And then when I saw it when I got home, or the next day, whenever it was, I saw, it's Ben White. No, you're out of order, mate. I would give him 70%, the goalie 20, and Saka 10, or something like that. I wouldn't blame most of it on the goalkeeper, in my opinion.
What my point was, that from that sort of moment in that game, because obviously 2 minutes prior, he made an amazing save, and everyone's like, but from that moment onwards, and the goal goes in and all that, he's him himself. He dropped because then suddenly his distribution's just he's getting the ball to his feet. He's holding on to it too long. They're coming at him because they're playing this high press and all that, and then he's literally kicking it 10 yards out for a throw every time, and that's doing my head in. So it's like when the press was put on him in terms of from the distribution point of view, he started being a bit Bojangles. Everything we accused Ramsdale of, basically. And then obviously looks good again against the teams that are not so good and don't really put the high press on. He does what he was in terms of this ball to hand, booting up the pitch and all that, pinpoint and all that. Ramsdale was doing that when he first came as well. Let's not forget that. Some people tend to forget that Ramsdale was doing that initially. He has gone out of his game, but it is what it is. Whether you're an Arteta thing, I don't know. But Ramsdale this season, I said this last night, Ramsdale this season hadn't done anything to merit in terms of this season to be dropped. And when Rayo came in for the Everton game and afterwards, and when Mikel tried to justify making that decision and saying, "Oh, last season, well, I've only got 2 regrets in my life, and they were last season. I sort of subbed the goalkeeper off and all that." I was like, "What a kick in the teeth that must be to Aaron, considering what he was going through as well off the pitch, what we now know. What a kick in the teeth that is that your manager that you thought had your back is just throwing you under the bus publicly again, and then throwing you under the bus again with a comment like that." And I'm like. And you wonder why. Then, literally, when he's then seen clapping in North London Derby, an amazing save from Raya, he gets criticised for it. But going back to last night, if Ramsdale had done what Raya did done, everyone's going in. Everyone piles in on him, but because it's a shiny new toy, it seems, in David Raya. Oh, it's okay, no worries, we'll move on, sort of thing. I'm like, seriously, just no. You cannot have one rule for one and one for the other. And I mean, Russ is saying in the chat, there's ruthlessness. This is another thing. There's ruthlessness, but in the wrong fucking area. We didn't need another goalkeeper. Ramsdale was doing just fine. The amount of times people need to remember where we were when Ramsdale came in, and he's been a big part of where we are now and the way he's been treated. We need another right winger. We need another striker. I don't see that. But that wasn't addressed. That's not He's not being ruthless in the areas that we need him to be ruthless in. He's being ruthless in areas we don't need him to be ruthless in at the moment, in my opinion. And I mean, when he was asked about it last night, I've seen a clip of last night. He was asked about Ramsdale, Arteta, and he's just like he sort of fobbed it off and went, "No, he's fine." Basically, he's like, "Right, in terms of Ray's fine." Like. But then you're quite happy to throw Ramsdale on the bus. It just does my head in that they're contradictory things, and it doesn't help when the goalkeeping coach is David Raya's best mate, and they know each other from Brentford. It's just like Aaron seems like he's only hiding to nothing, basically. But it's just, I understand that people are going to say, like James just says, I still think Raya's a better goalkeeper. Yes, in terms of when a ball comes in, he's more. The ball sticks to him basically. He doesn't really pump it out or cause any havoc there. But part of the game that Arteta wants to play is play out from the back, and he's no better than what we've seen from Aaron. And it does my head in that people are not clocking on. Not some have, but not everyone's clocked on to that yet. And it's like, so what? We just keeping him in goal because he has super glued hands all of a sudden. Because again, the goals that have gone in yesterday. Again, it's just. Again, the second goal, that was a contributing factor, as you mentioned before. Zinchenko being out of position and can't get back because he ain't got the pace. Gabriel and Saliba just ball watching and not having any awareness of what was around them. And then, in that instance, Ray are completely exposed because obviously he's got no help from his defence whatsoever from anyone. But yeah, I think it's more the frustration that we lost last night. I know the result in the other game in our group went in our way in the end of a 2-2 draw, but it's just like this is a game we should have really won, got out of the way, especially with Man City. It's more so because we've got Man City around the corner as well now. And it's just like we've got to pick ourselves up for that now. And it's like, seriously. I mean, do you think last night's going to go Liam first? Do you think that last night's result is going to affect the team in a negative way come Sunday? Or do you think they're going to use this as a bounce back?
No, I don't think it's going to affect what they know that they need to go out there and play Man City and go for a win Sunday. I don't think so. I don't think so. I honestly think that they turn up there like many others, like probably most of our fan base, including myself. I think so, and I thought we'd get 3 points, and I didn't think we'd get anything but 3 points last night. I thought we had a good team out there. There was no excuses with that team that was put out there to not go out there and do the job. And I think we underestimated them, and I think we underestimated the whole situation of obviously them being in Champions League first time in 21 years, and their fans are well up for it, and that sped into the team. And they took their chances at the end of the day. You've got to say that they're two of their goals, let's be honest, both their goals are incredible, are great finishes. Let's be honest, right?
Yeah.
Both their goals are great finishes. And and to be fair, Jesus' goal was a good finish as well. And we, as you said, Melvin, that we had chances, and if our finishing had been as good as their finishing, then we wouldn't have lost the game. And that's what it come down to at the end of the day, was the clinicalness of obviously the finishing. But I don't think it affects Sunday. The only worry for me Sunday is that we need Saka. We need Saka to play. Do you know what I mean? Sunday, Saka needs to be in the team, but how fit is he really going to be? And that's the problem.
He's a better target now.
Pardon?
If he does play, I mean, no matter what, he'd always have a target in his head. But now, if he plays, Pep's going to have everyone on him to take him out properly this time, because he knows.
Let's be honest, though, yeah, right. We're in a good situation Sunday. We're at home. They were nothing. They weren't playing well against us in Charity Shield till De Bruyne come on. We haven't got to play against De Bruyne. We haven't got to play against Rodri. This is our best time to go there. Not even to go there. They're coming to us to go against them and beat them. And I think we'll be up for it Sunday. I've got no doubts about that whatsoever. I think this is a big game for the club. And this is a game that we need to get over the line with Man City, because we haven't done it in the Premier League. I can't remember last time we beat them in the Premier League. Like, do you know what I mean? That's how long ago it was.
I think it was. I paid £1 2 and 6 for the ticket when we beat them last time.
Feels that long.
It's a while ago, isn't it? It is a while ago.
Yeah.
But we're not going to have a better opportunity than Sunday.
I think it's when Arteta scored against them. 1-0.
Is that long?
I think it could be, Ryan. At home, I'm talking about. Away was when Giroud scored.
Yeah. Away it was 2015. Bloody hell, it's 20. That was 2012. That's 2012? That was. Oh my god.
Yeah, I think so. I might be wrong, but that's all I can think of.
I think we've drawn a lot, and lost obviously a lot recently, but drawn a few games as well. Yeah, that's a long. What, 11 years? Oh my god. Time to end that. We need pace in the team. Do you know what I mean, Sunday? That's what we're all about. We need pace in the team to be able to beat them. So it'd be interesting if Martinelli's back Sunday. He may not have. He might be back Sunday for all we know. Interesting that Partey was back on the bench. I wouldn't expect Partey to start Sunday, but you don't know, do you? He might start him. He might put Declan Rice number 8 Sunday. Yeah, he might because he was on the bench yesterday. There was an unused sub in the end. He's another one. Again, I know it was obviously one full sub, but there's another one. Again, at half time itself, I would have brought him on, just put him alongside Declan. Now take Havertz off because they weren't okay with Havertz. Take him off. Odegaard back in his normal position. Put Partey alongside Declan and sort of solidify that midfield. A bit more control and get our foot in the game. But I can understand because obviously he's first. He's been out for a while. So, but obviously, I wouldn't be against it. I think we need that just to add a bit of extra edge in our midfield, a bit more experience alongside Declan. Because I know Premier League he's got the experience, but this is a lot to put on Declan with or without Rodri in that midfield. Yeah, I know. I'm gone. Got Saka somehow plays City. Again they will. Again, he's a target in every game, no matter who we play. He's the main target. Everyone, the opposition target, and they want to kick the crap out of. But the referees don't protect. This is another thing. All this talk about referees this week. We've been saying it for how long that our players like Saka don't get protected. I mean, how many times does he get in every game, home or away, get the living shit kicked out of him, and nothing gets done? Be it a yellow card, or it could be the worst foul in the world. I mean,
they don't even get a free kick, Ryan. On some cases.
No. I mean, what was it last season against Palace? Was it last season at Palace? Or a couple of years ago, not last season, season before Palace. We drew 2-2. I mean, it was 0-0. In fact, Saka got booted in the back of his calf by McCarthy. He was like, "Oh, play on."
That's right. Just outside the box, yeah.
So to an extent, we have been one way of saying it. We have been lucky in one sense, but it looks like that luck is running out at the moment. And I don't care. I know there's an England squad announcement tomorrow. I don't care if he's announced in the squad. He does play on Sunday. If he does play Sunday, I'd have a bit of shit allergy about me if I'm Arteta and say, you know what, no matter how the game's going, last 10 minutes or so, 5-10 minutes, hook him off, and then say at the end of the game, picked up an injury, he can't go on international duty, and keep him at home. Do not send him, because you know if you let him go to England international duty, Southgate's going to overuse him as well. We need him fully vested, because obviously after this it's full on club football from here on in, and we've got Chelsea away, first game back. We need him. He's a big game player. I keep saying it. He turns up for the big games. In terms of most of his goals come from big games, Man United, Tottenham, and things like that.
He turns up most games, doesn't he? He does turn up most games.
Yeah, but I'm saying he's a big. There's players that turn up for most games. There's players that turn up for big games as well. And he's a big game player. We can't afford even with Martinelli probably back by then. We can't afford to have Saka out, because obviously, as you say, it doesn't look like he trusts anyone else playing that right hand side. And if he does put anyone else on the right hand side, it's the wrong player at the wrong time and for the wrong opponent. It's weird how this is all coming about. But how much longer do we play this bad and get away with it, though, in terms of league-wise? Because, as I say, the games are coming thick and fast after the international break, and they're not going to get any easier. Something's got to give, or we go back to playing the way we did before this last season, basically. And we're getting the results. I know we've been getting the results so far in the league, but that luck's going to run out at some point. And to say what we are, what do I think now? 8-9 games into the season in all comps, we've only had one great performance. All the others have been subpar, below average, but we're getting the results. I mean, I know that's what champions do and all that, but not every match day. Something's got to give, and I think league-wise, again, I know Kai Havertz is suspended this weekend coming because he's got his 5th booking on last weekend, but
Carl Havertz isn't playing against Chelsea.
I think apparently, according to the commentators, I was watching the game on Saturday, and according to the commentators that were covering the game that I watched, the stream I was watching, they were saying that was his 5th booking. I double checked, but they're saying it was his 5th booking.
Wow.
Apparently, I double check it, but that's what they're saying in the commentary.
I fancy we might beat City now.
Let me have a look. One second. Program somewhere. It's got. Where was it?
There were so many players while you're looking. There were so many players last night that just were absolutely clueless in Seattle. I can go through the team. I thought Trossard was poor. I thought Havertz was poor. I thought Odegaard wasn't great. I thought who else? Jesus took his goal brilliantly.
Yeah,
nothing the rest of the game. Absolutely nothing.
We won't get Nelson as well.
Nelson, I'm sorry. For me, no, Nelson. I know you want him. We all want him to do well, but I've seen him for years, and he kept running out of. He didn't know where the white lines were. He did not know where the white lines were. I mean, come on, put your headlights on, mate. You should know where. You're a winger. You should have a clue where the lines are. He's done it time after time again. When I can go through the teams, I mean.
Yeah, that's just saying.
Even Shevchenko. We cannot play at this level of football without a left back.
We need a natural left back. Yeah, well, we had one. We sent him to Sociedad.
Yeah, but he's injured. When City have it play without a left back, they can afford to do it because their left half just comes back and they all play round each other. We had Havertz last night, couldn't get back for the second goal with Shevchenko, the pair of them. And though it was a brilliant finish, they just opened us up so easily. We've got to play with a left back. I don't like Tuior. Is that how you pronounce his name? I don't like him at left back, but at least he can defend. Going forward, he hasn't got a clue going forward because he's not a natural left back. That's not his fault. It's just the way he is. He's a good defender. And I'd rather against City, because we're not going to get up. We're not going to go full out against City. I wouldn't have thought Gunko. We can't afford to. And I would rather Kiwor play at left back than Shevchenko. And if it means that Havertz can't play for whatever reason, he gets dropped or he's banned, I'd put Shevchenko in his position. He cannot be worse. He cannot be worse.
Yeah, Havertz in the
he makes us tick. Shevchenko
Yeah.
makes us tick. He also makes us vulnerable. So let's play him away from where he makes us vulnerable and play him where he makes us tick.
Yeah. Emerson's just saying, and Russ mentioned it before, I think we were he said, Russ was saying about we were hoodwinked by the commentators. Emerson says Havertz is on his fourth booking, spot on line about the Chelsea match. But yeah, he's on his fourth booking, so the commentators had it wrong. I apologise on that one.
So he might get picked for Sunday then.
He might do again.
Hold on,
but when
you've
Chelsea
got Ladbrokes number. I want to change my bet.
I will play him Sunday.
No, again, he's with all due respect to Kai. I mean, oh bloody, I've got Joel calling me now. Bloody hell, go away, Joel. I'm live, leave me alone. Oh dear, literally on what? Jesus, putting me off now. But yeah, with all due respect, I know he scored at the weekend just against Bournemouth, but
penalty. Scored a penalty.
No, I wouldn't. Again, it's not working in terms of playing in the. Clearly, Arteta's realised he doesn't work in the pivot, so he's now playing. He's dropping Odegaard back into the pivot and putting Kai in the Odegaard role. And again, that's not even working because it's taking. By doing that, you're taking away what Odegaard gives us in the midfield anyway. Put Odegaard back in his natural position. Kai, I'm sorry, he has to start from the bench until further notice. Until he gets better, plays himself back into better form. But on the bench, just on the bench, and put. We've got Jorginho, we've got El Nene, we've got Partey, Zinchenko has been mentioned as well, and left back wise, I say Tomiyasu or Jakub Kiwior. Kiwior. They can actually get back. They actually can get back and defend. I mean, we saw it last night. Literally, Zinchenko gets caught out of position. He ain't got the pace. Well, they've got a bit of pace about him to get back and defend. So that's what I would do. Goalkeeper wise, we'll just deal with that later and whatever. But my back four would be Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel, and Jakub, and then Kiwior, and then Rice alongside Partey so you've got proper solidarity in that midfield. Someone can be the yanker and someone can just push forward a bit more and be that link up to the attack. Odegaard playing his normal roles. If Saka's available and he has to be fully fit. The thing is, he has to be fully fit.
He hasn't been fully fit for 2 years.
In terms of, I don't want him coming on. I don't want the game starting in 5 minutes later. He's got his ankle hanging off him, basically.
Yeah, you're gonna be fit.
Jesus down the middle again. I don't want to see Eddie because Eddie came on last night. It was fucking bog useless as per usual. And down the left, I'd happily put anyone. Trossard, Reece,
Emil Smith Rowe I put there before.
Smith Rowe. Personally, I'd lean Paul Smith Rowe because out of the three I mentioned there, in the few games he's been playing since the international break, he's actually shown some improvement game by game. We're starting to see again. We saw it against Bournemouth when he came against Bournemouth. We're starting to see again the Smith Rowe we came accustomed to before we had the surgery, in terms of getting in the box, being that bit of a nuisance, having a few shots that go and all that. Even last night comes on when no one's getting into a position to attack. He's just going, know what, screw this. I'm having a shot myself. So out of the three, I'd go for him. Again, nothing to lose. He's got a bit of hunger about him. He's got a point to prove. But this is down to Mikel now. Mikel needs to. He's got players. Smith Rowe saved it up. Let's not get this twisted. Smith Rowe saved Arteta's ass back in Boxing Day a couple of years in the COVID season against Chelsea. Let's not forget that.
Yeah, but he's ruthless. We've said the manager's ruthless.
And also, Arteta can't forget that because if he went for you say he's ruthless, but this was ridiculous. To get the lad for no fault of his own was paying through an injury to the point where he broke down in a warm down after we played United last year. We had to have surgery. He's now back. Since he's been back from the surgery, he's not been injured. He went off after the season, played international football for the under-21s, played pretty much every other day in that tournament, maintained his fitness, scored a few goals, looked arguably one of our best players. And then for when his holiday, he didn't take his holiday. Smith, he went, no, don't worry, Mikel. I want to fight and prove straight from the off. I want to be in this team straight from. Get my minutes up and all that, and get ready for the season. And so Smith Rowe's doing his bit, to show his hunger and his desire, and he wants to get back to his best and be and more. But Mikel ain't meeting him halfway. A few minutes here, a few minutes there. It's good. As I say, we have depth. We mentioned it before in other shows. We have depth now in the attacking side of the pitch. Use it. Rotate if you have to in these circumstances. Especially with certain teams. Certain teams you have to rotate. You've got players that have been more suited. Rotating. He talks this talk about obviously about the goalkeeper, going back to the goalkeeper. It's a rotational thing, game by game. I decide on the day. It's a rotation depending on the opponent. You use that with your attackers then. What's the point of having all these other attackers if you're just going to play the same 3 attackers no matter what when they're available, even if they're out of form? What's it? That's not going to help the cohesion and the brotherhood that you're trying to build within the club. We're just going to go backwards again, we'll be worse off than what we were when he came into us with all the clicks and all that. The 20,000 clicks that we had with the Ozils, the Kolasinacs, the Mustafis, and all that. It'll go back down that route again. That's the last thing we need because that was what caused our downfall, basically. Everyone's got internal in the chat, by the way. Apologies, but yeah, I mean, I don't want to keep going over the game, but as I say, it was just a point. But thankfully, Sevilla PSV was a 2-2 draw. But we now know there's no room for error now in this group. We now need to go to Sevilla, win there, come back, beat them at our place. I think and just do what we've got to do now. These next 4 games, basically in the group, but.
We don't need to win at Seville. We can get a draw and beat them at home.
Well, but no, it would be ideal, wouldn't it? Just
ideal if we win every game. Yeah, but we don't need to.
Yeah. No, we don't.
I'm going, Mervyn.
No, sorry, Liam. Sorry, I apologise.
No, that's all right, mate. You go first.
No, go on, please.
No, I was just going to say, I think obviously we need to go away from home and we need to be putting a solid midfield in. Do you know what I mean? Like we can't go Odegaard and Havertz in that centre midfield away at Seville or even PSV. Like look at PSV last year; they're notoriously a hard stadium to go to. They absolutely battered us last year, didn't they? It could have been 4-5-0 if they'd have goals disallowed. So, like, do you know what I mean? I think, like, for me, Declan Rice position is best number 6. But now, after seeing the way we're playing at the moment and the kind of the substance in certain games, I think we do need to go back to maybe potentially get when Partey's fit, putting him back into the number 6 role and putting Declan into that number 8 role.
Yeah.
I just don't see no other way at the moment because Havertz he's not consistent. He's not consistently doing it enough to say that you stay in the team as number 8. And
the balance is just not right. We've kind of pivot. I mean, as I say, it seems like Mikel's seen that and then dropped him into an Odegaard role, and it's like even that's not working. But when it's like he's trying to shoehorn Kai into form, and it's just not working. As you say, go back to putting Declan at 8 and Partey at 6, and I think we'll have more balance and more control of the game then.
Have you ever seen a footballer? And I'm being very critical here. A footballer like Havertz, I know he's got it up here. He's definitely got it up here. But when he passes to another Arsenal player, even not under pressure, he rolls it to him sometimes. Well, most times. I've never hit him at a ball, bang, goes to the player. Bang, bang, bang. No, he seems to have no strength in his legs, like gives it. And it's like, well, come on then. And then the player's got to stop in his stride, wait that split second for the ball, and it all stops. It's really sold. If he would be 2 years younger, say, what's he now, 24? If he was 22 years old and he would be one of our guys that have come through the ranks and he's in the reserves, he would get put on loan. No doubt about it. You would say, he ain't ready yet. He's got to go on loan or another year in the reserves. Why we're picking him every week, I know that if you keep throwing mud at the wall, some of it will stick, but we can't afford to do that with our situation. We can't afford to play with 11 players. We've got to play with 11 rather than not 10 or not 9.5 in some respects. We cannot do that. He cannot play. You cannot play yourself. You can play yourself into better form, but sometimes that's at a cost, and we can't afford it. And especially not against City, especially not with the teams we got coming up. We cannot afford to do it. It's not as if we're smashing teams 3 and 4-0 home and away every week, and they go, you know what? Let him play. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't matter. We get through it, and at some stage, he will suddenly hit form. When we're beating teams by fine margins most weeks, we cannot afford it.
I just
go on,
I know. I was just going to say. I just think as well. We've obviously the way we are playing at the moment with Harvest and all that. Honestly, I think his best performances I've seen have been up front.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Yeah.
His best performances have been up front. I didn't think he was that bad in the Charity Shield. You know what I mean? I thought he worked hard.
Done well, held up the ball well.
And then he went up front in the second half of the game, didn't he? Against in the Champions League, didn't he? Against on the first game of the season. First Champions League game of the season against PSV. And I thought he looked all right up there again. But I just don't see it long term, this position for him. I don't see it long term. And it does knock me a little bit when I see someone like Emil Smith-Rowe, who he come on against Bournemouth, mate, and he you could tell that he wanted to score. He wanted to score, and he was gutted he didn't score. And then he come on again. Oh, Jesus, Newcastle winning. He come on again, didn't he?
Wow.
And he had a shot. He was the only one who decided, you know what, I'm going to have a shot. I'm going to hit one.
Liam, can I just say something? From the day I see this geezer play, Smith-Rowe, when he gets the ball, 9 times out of 10, unless he's blocked, he wants to go forward. He'll look for any opportunity to go forward, either pass the ball, do a 1-2, try and go past people, do something positive. Yeah, sometimes he gets the ball, especially when he first comes on, he wants to give it back. But you know that once he's in full stride, once he's been playing a little bit of time, he wants to go forward. And teams can't handle that sometimes. They don't mind teams playing around them because at the end of the day, then they move to the left, they move to the right. When he makes an extra man by going past someone, all of a sudden the panic's on for the defenders, for the other team. And that's what I love. I think it's terrific. I pay my money to watch people like that.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think we're all in agreement Kai has to be on the bench on Sunday at least. He cannot start.
All right, I've got a thing for you, Ryan. When's the last time, and you, Liam, when's the last time you managed to pick the starting 11 Arsenal correctly?
No.
Oh, bloody hell. Last season at some point, last season.
Did you tell me the game? I don't remember when I've ever done it.
No, there's never a time. There is never a time.
No. Oh, dear God. Oh, there's Shearer. So I'm just watching the Newcastle game as well on my end as well. We have a monitor.
He's got some blind love. That's the problem at the moment, isn't he? He's got some blind love. And I think, obviously, Eddie's definitely one. But I do sit there with Eddie at times. I sit there and think, is he just playing him up there because he's going to get a striker in? Well, that's what I hope. And this is the way he wants to play moving forward. But, he's got blind love. And I think he's very stubborn. He is very stubborn in terms of his approach, in terms of certain players. But I think with the Havertz one, I think my personal opinion is I only see him as a forward. And I've heard, and I've listened to Chelsea fans online going, the only position they see him is as a forward. And they would know better than anyone because they've seen him for quite a few years. So I don't know. Maybe he might make it work. He might surprise us, Arteta. But at the moment, he wouldn't get in my number 8 personally. Do you know what I mean? Because I think it's harbouring the team at times, especially when we're out of possession.
Well, it's also you sort of say that and all that, but obviously there might be a thing about it, taking him in as a forward because that's where he's looked better for us out of the 3 positions he's played. He's looked best as a centre forward. But when you're hearing the links that we're talking with Ivan Toney's representatives, and he was a big target of ours until he got banned and all that, and a big target of ours got into January, that doesn't bode well for Kai either because Ivan is an out-and-out striker and he will get the goals. And I don't know, this could get messy before it gets any better.
How much will Tony cost? 80 million?
Apparently, they're asking for around 70 to 80. Yeah.
When we first brought Oh,
Go on, sorry.
Go on.
Bad
No, I was
timing.
going to say, when we brought Kai Havertz, where did you think originally we was going to play him? Before we even played the game, where did you originally think that's where we're going to play him?
I didn't have a clue. Didn't have a clue. Honestly, I swear to you, I did not
No.
see where he was going to fit in. I had my Arsenal team in my head, what I'd like to see and where they all play. I couldn't see an opening. I thought this signing, I still think this is the case, Liam, will be an absolute genius move by Arteta or another Pepe.
Oh,
Yeah.
God. No,
It's one or the other. He ain't going to be in between.
Willian. Remember him?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, but look at him now, though. Look at him playing for Fulham now. He's a different player.
Yeah. Nothing else to say on that. So I think, what was I going to say? In terms of Liam's question, sorry, that was it. I was sitting there again. I did again, like Melvin. Sorry, I didn't know in particular where he was going to play, where he's going to fit in terms of the start and all that. But I thought at the very least, if anything, I thought maybe he'd be the backup to Jesus. Like Jesus is our starting striker, he'll be the backup. Well, because he has the height, bring him on at 60 or 70th minute, bring him on for the height, cross the ball in. He's got the aerial ability about him, but he's not even doing that. So I don't know. I don't know what Arteta needs to be more open with us as a fan base and tell us at least, because it's not helping. And we've mentioned already, it's help with Kai in the team, playing him in the position we played him in the midfield side of things, be it the Odegaard role or in the pivot, it's holding us back. We don't look the same in midfield. We haven't got that bite. Like I think Russ said it before. I did have a comment on the screen before. Havertz doesn't have that nasty streak that Xhaka had, and it's right because he's just he's an enigma of a player. It does frustrate the life out of me because
he reminds me, and it's really bad for me to say this, so I apologise because I'd like to be a millionth of the player that he is about. So I would love to have been a millionth of the player. But he reminds me of a midfield Sonogo, the way he's long legged, can't quite control the ball, always on the wrong side of it, not quite getting the right thing in. I'm sorry. At the moment, he could be the greatest player going. Well, I don't think he will, but he might be a lot better now going forward than he is now. Hopefully he is. But I just don't get any inspiration. I know we've had players that we've looked at and go, oh, they're not doing it now. We first signed them and they come up to be world beaters, the Perez's, Bergkamp, blah, 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 and all that. But you could see they had it. It wasn't quite happening. This geez, you can't, in my opinion, I can't see anything. And I want to be wrong. I just cannot see anything.
It's like we're trying to shake something out of him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's got that attitude, a bit like on the pitch, like Ozil had at times. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the German kind of, I want to say swagger, but I don't even think there's a swagger with him at the moment. He just looks totally beaten up as a player. He looks like he's been absolutely destroyed over the last 2 years. That's the only thing I'm sitting there hoping. Like you're thinking, Arteta must be sitting there thinking, I want to shake this out of him, because Arteta's obviously got a vision of him, and he's got a vision of how he wants to play for Arsenal. And for me, like, I can see what Arteta wants, and I can see what he wants out of him, because I think he wants that little bit extra that Xhaka couldn't give him in that role. Do you know what I mean? But I don't think this is the guy for it. Not in that position.
No. Not at all. Not at all.
No,
and that's where Smith Rowe comes in for me, mate. Smith Rowe comes in for me in that as a such. I'm not saying he should play every game, but do you know what? Yeah, right. At least with Smith Rowe, right. You know what you're going to get with him, and give him 5-6 games. Like Vieira's proved that he's inconsistent. I think Vieira's more of an impact player still at the moment. Give Smith Rowe 5-6 games. Let's see how he gets going. Do you know what I mean? Because he's not like he hasn't gone away to the clubs like Chelsea and Man United. He scored goals there. He scored at Old Trafford. He scored at Stamford Bridge. Do you know what I mean? He scored big goals again in big games. So it's not like he doesn't know that he can't do it, because we know he can do it. But give him 5-6 games. Let's see how he does in that number 8 role.
No, exactly.
I would give it to him every day. I would play. I would play him all the time. I'm a big fan of his, big fan of his.
Okay.
And when I see players like Vieira, and I don't know if you noticed it, gentlemen, just before half time, the ball was near the centre and he had a 50-50 and he bottled it, Vieira. Completely bottled it. All right, he's slight, but sorry, it wasn't going to win a goal. It wasn't going to let in a goal. It was of no consequence. You still don't bottle it. You've got to go in. You know, you played the game.
Yeah.
You've got to go. You've got more chance of getting injured anyway. You do not want to visually let someone see you bottle it. And also, a lot of players would do. Nelson was at fault for this. Vieira was at fault, and a few of the others. That when we were 2-1 down, we made all the changes. And for 10 or 15 minutes, we never got the ball in their penalty area with all the possession. That was driving me mad. You know, what's going on? You realise we're losing. You've got to take a chance.
The only one that was willing to try and get that push that ball forward was Declan. I remember literally that period, there was one point where we passed the ball to Fabio, and Fabio sort of got the ball, turned around, came back, and Declan literally looked at me like, the fuck?
Exactly. I remember. Yeah, I remember.
What the fuck are you doing? And even as the ball's played on, he's turning around again and having to go at him.
Yeah. It was ridiculous. One. It was absolutely ridiculous. A few of them were like that.
Yeah, and I was sitting in.
Nelson getting the ball, turning, giving it back. No, you've got one-on-one, mate. Try. Or just whack it in the box. I know they're big defenders and the goalkeeper's solid, but give it a go. You never know. It come off someone's knee and you might have half a chance. No, just play it around. You don't get points for playing the ball around.
On your note quickly, Melvin, about Zinchenko, I picked up earlier on. Like for me, I think he's going to become the player that will be very vulnerable next season, because don't get me wrong, it looks all good and it's nice when he does come into midfield. Like he done it against Bournemouth and it looked really nice. But the problem we got now is it's time after time with Zinchenko. Zinchenko actually costs us a lot of goals.
He gives the ball away.
Yeah.
As well.
And then he can't defend. He literally cannot defend. No.
Can't get back either.
And I do think that he's going to become very vulnerable in that team. And I wonder if Timber got injured, whether he actually got back in that team.
I don't think so, because Timber is in such red hot form, weren't he? He came in and just hit the ground running.
There's a reason why Man City got rid of him, isn't there? There's a reason why Man City got rid of him at the end of the day. I do think he's a risk for us. I do. He's good when he comes forward. I like it when he gets into midfield, but I absolutely shit myself, mate, when he's having to defend the situation.
Oh, I hate it. When he's chasing the right winger down the line, I'm thinking, no, number one, you ain't going to tackle him. The only chance he's got of defending is when someone gives a pass and he intercepts it, gets there before the other guy. If it's one-on-one on a dribble, forget it. We saw that. I know he might have been tired, but against Liverpool away, Anfield, the equaliser, that showed him up. He was like all over the shop, being beaten by a very good, having said that, a very good right back. But he ain't but he's not a winger, the geezer. Though he plays like a bit of a winger, the Liverpool right back. He done him, didn't he? He done him. He absolutely done him. Through the legs, go around you, thank you very much, and they equalised. That type of thing should never have happened. I mean, it should never have happened. And there we are. The writing was on the wall then. When you saw Tierney, I'm not saying we should have kept Tierney because he is a liability, for his injuries. But defensively, how much more? When someone was going down that side, were you much happier to see how little Tierney's running down there? Don't worry about it. Just we're going to get the ball back. We might give a throw away or corner. That's always going to happen. Or we're going to manage to nick it off the geezer's boot and go up the other side. You were never that worried with Tierney. And with Zinchenko, it's your mind suddenly goes, whoa, hold on a minute. I'm not happy about this. Not happy about this at all.
I was actually
terrific footballer, Zinchenko. He ain't left back.
No, I was thinking last night, like the way the team was set up last night, in the end, we needed a Tierney in the team. Because we didn't have the pace on the wings. We needed the fullbacks to literally overlap yesterday, which we did have as well. Because obviously got Tommy, who's obviously he's not that great going forward anyway, defensively good. But then you got Zinchenko, who was coming to midfield. And I was sitting there thinking, with the wingers that we had on the team, with Vieira and Trossard, that's where we needed natural left fullbacks last night. And I think we did miss Ben White last night, because I think Ben White does overlap. We've seen it quite a bit. Ben White's attacking game's got much better for me over the last 12 to 18 months. And I do think we missed him last night.
And also, Trossard, when he was on the left, or Nelson, could have gone inside and made a space for the left back. There was no reason for them to do that last night because no one's going to be in the space. That's why they were going down the left the whole side or the right. They had no option. No option.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, I mean, but just because you mentioned Timber, do you find it bizarre? I know, obviously, he's now injured from what Melvin's told us already, but we didn't exactly break our necks with knowing the Timber injury and how long that would be to recover from the ACL. Do you find it bizarre that we didn't try and keep him for at least until January and reassess things, or when we did let Tierney go and loan someone in just for the extra cover? Because it doesn't seem to. Again, Yako Kiwa, again, defensively, I like him. I think he's come in. Whether we played him in the back line, he's slotted in and done a job. Tomiyasu, defensively, as mentioned, can do a job. It's just obviously overlapping, like you mentioned. But he doesn't give them any minutes, really. It's all when Zinchenko's available, it's Zinchenko or bust, basically, for that left-hand side. Because Zinchenko, as far as Arteta's concerned, he played perfectly in his eyes the inverted midfielder crap. But he doesn't really play perfectly because he can't defend. He can't get back. He's lost the pace. He hasn't got that pace anymore to get back, and he gets done too easily. If you want to play Zinchenko in the midfield, play him in midfield. But you can play someone else at left back that can actually just defend and attack and can be that back and forward and go forward but not get caught out like he does. Hence,
you know what? Before yesterday's game, I would have taken a draw at home. I want to win, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been the end of the world if we'd drawn at home to City of 3 last weekend's matches, right?
Yeah.
Now, I still obviously take a draw because I think we're not as good as we would have been 7 days ago, with their injuries and what have you.
Yeah.
I don't want to draw, I want to win. But it won't be the worst result in the world if we draw against home to City. We haven't done that for years anyway, so that'd be one. I mean, they took 6 points off us last year. Can you imagine if we drew one of those games, the title could have been ours? One game.
Momentum-wise, yeah. That could have
not momentum, mathematics. If we'd have got 1 point, they'd have got 4 points. It would have been 3 points difference in the 2 games, just with the one draw rather than 6.
But my point is, obviously, with that, we got at least a draw at home or away at either point. We could have swung it back in our favour, but
this is why, right. On Sunday, like if Partey is fit, he's got to play. You're not gonna come up against a Man City midfield. Like we've got a good record against players like Kovacic, like playing against Chelsea. So I'm not really worried about him whatsoever. We're never ever going to play them with this opportunity again, where they're not going to have De Bruyne and Rodri. So for me, if Partey's fit, get him in, Declan Rice, Odegaard in that midfield, and go at them because their midfield won't. If Rice and Partey play to their capability, I don't think that their midfield that they're going to have in there Sunday will compete against it. That's my personal opinion. That's the big where the big decision's got to be made. And if Partey's fit enough, if he's on the bench last night, though, you'd like to think he's fit, wouldn't you?
You like to think.
On that basis, Liam. On that basis, then Martinelli can't be fit for Sunday. He weren't on the bench, was he?
I don't think he. Well, I think the best we can hope for is that he is on the bench. I think Trossard will start Sunday. Which I'm not adverse to because it is at home, and if there was anyone in that team, if a half chance does come anyway on Sunday, I'd rather force Trossard.
Yeah, because he's not out of the forward line. He's not afraid to have a pop outside from anywhere from the box. But when he has a pop, he belts it. His power placement is fantastic. We've mentioned it again. We've all mentioned it on here before on other podcasts as well. He is our best finisher on our team. That says a lot. But I wouldn't be against it. As I say, going back to obviously before we start wrapping things up.
Yeah.
Like if we play our full strength, if we play full strength, I don't care who's in goal at this point in time. That's a discussion for another day near the time or whenever. But play our best back four. And Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel, for me, Jakob or Tommy Asu, one of them two. Zinchenko again, as you say, I don't want him playing because obviously if he gets caught out, we're buggered. Whereas at least them two, one of them two have got pace to get back. If they ever go forward and get caught out, they can get back and cover themselves in glory, basically, somewhat. Midfield wise, if Partey's available, you play midfield, you play him because then with their absentee, so we say, like we've mentioned, this is the perfect time. Get up, get Partey and Declan in that midfield, and we should boss it in terms of literally getting the ball, holding it, and dictating the tempo, and just having entire control of that midfield. And if we do that, that's after battle one, and then just getting it forward. Then, and obviously you've got Odegaard in his natural position, you're getting the best out of him. We've said it how many times? Whenever Odegaard plays the pivot, you're losing what Odegaard gives us. Playing back in his natural position, put Partey, Declan, Saka, Jesus, and obviously Trossard or Smith Rowe down that left hand side, and we've got a good enough team to cause Man City problems. I mean, the Community Shield proved that, especially with Trossard. He came on in that game as well. Trossard, I know it was a deflected goal in the end, but he's the one that had the shot. He's the one that had the bravery to dummy someone, cut inside, and have the shot. And I think if we can get a result, even if it's a draw. Like Melvin said, even if it's a draw, there's we take the positives about it. No matter how we play as a performance, we can take the positive because for once we wouldn't have lost then. Then we kick on to Chelsea and go on and go from there. But But before we go, obviously this will be probably the last time we talk before Sunday, so we'll get our score predictions in for this game. Liam, we'll start with you.
I'm going to go for no. I'm going to go. I'm going to go for a win. I can't sit there and give it the big one like that. I've got to go for a win. I'm going to go. Do you know what? Right, I'm going to go 2-1. I was debating over 3-2 or 2-1. I think 3-2 is probably more the option if we're going to win. But
that's Heart Attack FC in Block 9.
Yeah, I'm going to. If we start that midfield, then I'm going to go 2-1.
Melvin.
I was going to go 2-1 as well, but as you stole my thunder, I'm going to go 1-0.
Good old 1-0.
I'll tell you what, I'll go 3-2. You have 2-1.
All right, done.
I'm not reading this out, Tom, but I'm putting it on the screen for all the viewers. Just so, just Tom just being Tom. Jesus Christ. Oh, only a Leeds fan could come out with that comment. But anyway, we've got two. Steve, the Arsenal misfits, then got 2-0 City. No confidence in the manager right now. Bloody hell.
Oh.
Fucking life and soul you are, Steve. Jesus Christ.
Oh, my
God. As I say, I'm at the game myself, and I'm literally next door to. I will be next door neighbours with Liam in terms of block.
Where are you going before the game? You going anywhere before the game?
No idea, because my brother's coming with me. He's got a boot on. As in, he's got a hospital boot. I mentioned it.
Oh, right. Fair enough. All right.
No, because basically, it was obviously on Saturday. I was doing match of the day stream and all that. He tried calling me. Basically, it was his last. He does shift patterns and all that. It's on his last night shift. And him and one of his colleagues were lifting moving something about from one place to the other. And basically, on the way, they've lost balance or something, and it's gone up. They've both gone over, and he's done his ligaments. So he's got to have a boot on.
Never nice that.
So yeah, I did try calling up Arsenal on Monday to see if they could move us to a more accessible area, because obviously where we're sitting in Block 9 with a boot, it's not exactly easy to sit down. Almost 2-0. Not exactly easy to sit down or move about. And if someone knocks it, that's going to make it even worse for him. But apparently, I've got to turn up on the day, and they've got to turn up on the day and basically they'll see if they can do something for us, basically. Was it 2-0?
So you're not going anywhere?
I don't know. The West Benders whistle for something. The PSG players are kicking off. But
so basically, you're not going to be anywhere before the game then?
If we can get down early enough, I might pop down to the Toddington for a bit.
All right. I'll see what I'm doing. I'm not sure yet, but I'll see what I'm doing. All right, lovely. Yeah. All right, Ryan. Thank you.
If not, we can meet up afterwards briefly on the way back, like we did. Right. But we bumped into, didn't actually.
Finsbury Park, wasn't it?
Finsbury Park, yeah, literally. I was just randomly. Hi, hello there. Oh dear. Liam, as always, will be plastered somewhere in North London, win, lose or draw.
If we win, I'll definitely be plastered. I've got to work Monday, so I won't be too bad.
If we win, also there's a goal check apparently at Newcastle. This will be interesting. If we win, you'll be at the corner down there, Holloway Road.
It's still open. It's about to close down, isn't it?
I thought it was staying open basically, but refurbed or whatever. But it's going to stay as a.
It is going to stay as a pub, but I think someone's obviously. I don't think it'll be a Wetherspoons.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Well, it's got to be 2-0 because from what I'm seeing, that ball goes over the line. So,
does it matter anymore from what you're seeing?
Well, this is UEFA. This isn't Premier League. I know UEFA are corrupt, but Jesus Christ, it can't be this club, surely. Allegedly, well, you have to come after me. But anyway, I don't want to get started on that old Premier League stuff either. We'll be here for another hour otherwise. Getting onto that.
Yeah, can't afford that.
Jesus Christ. Let's hope it doesn't happen to us on Sunday. Fingers crossed, touch wood. Get your fucking your rabbit foot out or whatever lucky charm you have, get it out and pray that doesn't happen to us on Sunday because they'll be hell to pay otherwise. But yeah, thanks to Melvin, thanks to Liam and everyone in the chat. Obviously, Liam and Melvin for taking part in the podcast and all that.
Thanks, Ryan.
No worries. And everyone else in the chat as well, all the regulars and a couple of new faces as well. Big up to yourselves. Appreciate it. Appreciate the support. If you haven't already, do please hit the like button. Do share the content as well. Share the content around as well. And the audio for this, if you've missed part of the show, you want to watch it back or listen to it on the go, the audio for this will be available on Spotify and all the audio podcast platforms in about half hour's time from this ending. So, as always, keep an eye out for that, and we'll see you soon. As always, it is now 2-0 to Newcastle. Up the Arsenal. Come on, you guys.
Let's go.